Let's check in with the French fan base and how are they feeling about Wembanyama being officially a Spur.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey guys, this is Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. It's morphin' time.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for KENS 5 San Antonio. Hey, you made the right choice by coming right back here on Locked On Spurs, and we're going to get you through your workday today. As always, Locked On Spurs is part of the Locked On Network, free and available wherever you get podcasts. We are your first listen each and every day. Go to YouTube, pick a platform. We're there, your team every single day. Yeah, we will. Hopefully, we'll never leave you hanging without an episode to talk about something. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. First time users get themselves a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com, promo code Locked On. So, shocker, more Wembanyama talk, I know, but it's time to check back in with the French fan base. And it's very important that we do that because that French connection between the Spurs fans in San Antonio, United States, are going to be reconnected with the French fan base, whether in the United States or in France. And that's going to be very, very positive. That's going to be very good for this franchise moving forward now that Victor is a member of the Spurs. French fans, they practically grew up with him. He was a kid over there in France. He's now 19 years old. So they saw him develop. They saw him grow up, whether it had been with Asvel or with the Mets 92 or just his life as he grew up before he became an NBA commodity and being selected number 1 overall by the Spurs in the draft. So we got to keep in contact with French fans. They are like our lifeline to understand more about Victor. And I really feel that, we as a fan base perhaps didn't really tap into that resource, that French fan resource, when Tony Parker was around, when Boris Diaw was around, Nando De Colo, Jan Mahimi, when that French connection was just starting. Sure, it got strong with Tony Parker, but I feel we never really got to give the French fans their due. Perhaps they could have told us about Parker's interest in becoming a musician. Perhaps they could have told us about Diaw and, how, legendary he is in France. So that's why I feel like we should not waste that opportunity now that Wembanyama is officially a San Antonio Spur. But look, if you thought Tony Parker's time in San Antonio was great and, Boris Diaw with his antics, this is going to be heightened 100 times. I would not be surprised at all if French fans infight about Wemby and his playing time, just like Spurs fans do. Would not be surprised. Would also be surprised to find out that French fans think that Wembanyama could surpass Parker in popularity overseas. And that's why we have to understand that it's kind of like a clean slate, if you will, a brand new slate where we can learn more and appreciate another French megastar in San Antonio 10 times more, 100 times more than we got to with Tony Parker and the rest of the French players that came through here. I would have learn more about Jan Mahimi or, Nando De Colo, or dig deeper, Livio Jean-Charles. Remember him? Yeah, perhaps they could have told us, hey, Jean-Charles may not pan out with you guys in the NBA/Spurs. So I think we have to take every opportunity to tap into that resource. Because we're gonna need it. It's Wemby mania in San Antonio. Not only just San Antonio in the NBA, not just in the NBA in France, not just the NBA in France. It's all over the globe. And just look at Nike's latest commercial teaser with him. He's there portraying him as a human. Coming from the universe, and he's saying, "Hello, humans. I'm here. I'm gonna open your eyes." So I really think it's time that we turn this new leaf, so to speak, and get to know more about him. I know I am eager to learn more about him. I feel like, what more can we do right now outside of his stats? We know what he can do. We've seen the footage. We've seen the highlights. We know the numbers. You can go to any website right now and dig deep into stats and advanced stats and Advanced stats. I mean, there's only so much you can crunch numbers, but what about the person? What about him? What about Wemby in France? How was he received before he was a megastar? I am very curious to find out, and I know all of you guys are. And that's what we're going to do when we're bringing our guest in the next segment. He is Louis from Spurs Nation, France. He's going to come in and tell us some more about Wembanyama. And look, I'm pretty sure, until Wemby takes off that Spurs jersey, hopefully it'll be for a long time, we're not going to get enough of Wemby. And with that, we have a good treat for you. We're going to talk to a Spurs fan in France. He's going to tell us everything we need to know and then some about the latest superstar in San Antonio. As we do, we get right back right here on Locked On Spurs. Before we do that and more, I want to talk to you about PrizePicks. You got to go to PrizePicks ASAP. Look, it's real simple to use. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they go on to score more than their PrizePick projection, you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. PrizePicks offers projections on any sport that you watch. NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA, esports, WNBA, Eurobasket, MMA, boxing, cricket. They got it all, even NASCAR and tennis. That's why you have to go to PrizePicks right now. As I mentioned, super easy to use, very fun, safe and fast withdrawals. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less, super easy, operational in over 30 states and in Canada. So you want to download the PrizePicks app right now or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First time users get themselves a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks gives you $100. You deposit $50, PrizePicks gives you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. So let's go and bring in our guest. He is Louis, and apparently he has a very complicated last name, so he's going to tell you exactly his last name. He is with Spurs Nation France. Louis, welcome to Locked On Spurs.
Hey everyone, thank you Jeff for welcoming in. So my name is Louis de Kergorlet. It's coming from the French region named Brittany. And very happy to be here to talk more about Wemby.
Say your last name one more time.
De Kergorlet.
Oh, I almost had it. Du Kergorlet.
Yeah, it's on that. You have it. Even French people can't get it. So
okay, all right. Well, give this American a little bit of a break because I felt like my brain exploded right now trying to think about how to pronounce that. But I'm glad to have you here, Louis. Again, he is with Spurs Nation France, and he's going to talk to us about, shock everybody, Wembanyama. And by the way, Louis will talk more about Spurs Nation France later on in the show, how you can get in contact with them. So, Louis, let's dive into this. What was the French fan reaction when Wembanyama officially became a Spur, put on that Spurs baseball cap, walked the stage, and said hello to the NBA? I am a member of San Antonio.
Man, it was like a dream come true, like Christmas before Christmas, because of course, as French fan, we've heard about Wembanyama, especially as basketball fans, since he was like 15. And even I, because I'm a reporter also, I wrote a paper about him when he was playing the U19 FIBA World Cup, when he played against Chet and Kenny Lofton. So we've seen it coming from a long time. And for us, French fan, and especially for Spurs fan, it's amazing to see like a circle come whole with the story between France and the Spurs, like Tony and Boris and so on.
What was the reaction in France? Like were fans at sports bars, having a beer, watching the NBA draft? I know it was like super late or early in the morning in France because of the time difference, but did any fans stay up super late to watch the historic moment unfold?
I don't think there was like a proper watch party, but sure, in France, you have to be really passionate because the games are always between like 1 and 5 a.m. So from what I've heard, a lot of fans were in front of their NBA League Pass or their TV, but from what I've heard, they've been celebrating at home.
Yeah. Did you stay up late to watch it?
Yeah, sure. And also, I was working the same day, so it was a bit of a long day for me.
I can imagine. Yeah, you know, over here in the United States, you know, we've been bombarded, especially in San Antonio, just bombarded with just Wembanyama this and Victor that, and he's over here and he's having dinner and he's chatting with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and all these people. You know, yeah, are French fans in France like keeping up with everything that's going on with him right now? Hey, I want to talk to you about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. It's in San Antonio, locally owned, serving the local community for quite some time now. Open Monday through Monday, every day, basically, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you can find them at 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. They have everything you could think of. You need a basic coffee, they got you. You need a latte, they got you. You need a cold brew, they got you. You need a Red Bull infused lightning bolt drink, they got that too. They have it all at Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Over 500, 300, 500, 600, so many 5-star reviews. Cannot be wrong. They are really, really good. They're gaining popularity fast. You got to try all their drinks. They have a great menu, friendly staff. They have the Alien. Did you know about this, Victor? They have a drink called the Alien in honor of Wemby's arrival. It's basically Red Bull, kiwi, and apple mixed all together, and you got yourself the Alien drink in honor of Wembanyama's arrival. They also have the OG. It's basically for those y'all who are 70s and 80s babies like me and remember having an Orange Julius in the old school malls in San Antonio. It's back only at Mudslingers. And let me tell you right now, everybody who gets it raves about it. Get those nostalgia vibes going once again. Also, you can find them everywhere. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Mudslinger STX. You got to try it right now. Again, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. Open every day, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Life is too short for bland coffee.
I won't say as much as you guys, but from a global media standpoint, it was really interesting to see that, common media, no sports media, everyone was interested about this weird 7'3" kid going in Tony Parker's team. So yeah, it was quite the talk for like 2 days after his draft, and then media moved on. But it was quite a thing. Like even in radio when I worked, which is not a sport radio at all, we did a lot of stuff about Wemby.
By the way, that's a good point. Who do you work with? I know you work with Spurs Nation France, but you said you write somewhere. Where do you write?
No, I used to write for
okay.
I used to write for Le Figaro, which is basically the biggest newspaper in France.
Okay.
And now I work for a radio.
Okay. What's the name of the radio station?
It's called Sud Radio, basically South Radio, because it was historically based in the south of France.
Oh, okay. And I'm assuming we cannot hear it over here in the United States, or like online, or like a link.
Yeah, sure. Just go on sudradio.fr and you can listen it online.
Perfect. And especially if you know French, everybody. I don't. But if you do, you know where to go to now if you want to hear some more information about Wembanyama. In San Antonio especially, it didn't matter that everybody knew that he was going to go number one to San Antonio. I think everybody knew. There was no secret. Victor almost let it slip out a few times that he was going to go to San Antonio. I mean, there was no surprise. Okay. But
yeah, sure.
Yeah. But were French fans ever worried that he would not go to San Antonio, or were they just like Spurs fans in San Antonio and in the United States saying, nope, he's number one for sure?
Well, of course, as Spurs fan, we wanted him to go to San Antonio, but from what I've gathered from the whole NBA fan in the French sphere, some of them wanted it to go to another team because they were afraid that Tony's legacy over there was going to be too heavy to carry, and he wanted to write his own story, maybe in a winningless franchise like Charlotte or the Pacers. Yeah. So
that is very fascinating. That's the first time I've heard that there was maybe not all, but that some, French fans wanted him to carve his own story in a different franchise. Do you think that Tony Parker, his shadow, is too big for Wembanyama, or Wembanyama perhaps can't get bigger than Tony Parker?
I think like it's very different because for the first time in French sports history, we see a guy coming into the league being a French star, because of course we have all those prestigious French guys who came before, but they came as late round picks or, slow risers. And for the first time, you've got this guy coming in. All the US have the red carpet for him. And so, of course, I think it's going to be a bit hard for him. But from what I've heard and seen, he's ready to take it.
You were just wanting him to go to San Antonio, right? You were not of the fans that were thinking that he should go somewhere else. So, yeah, I was just making sure that.
Of course, we wanted him.
Okay. But it's funny because were French fans kind of like infighting between each other, like a segment of them saying no, go to San Antonio, and then another segment saying no, he should go somewhere else. So did you see any of those fans kind of bickering at times?
No, not really, because when everyone knew he was going to the Spurs, it was like, okay, everyone agreed that it was a great environment for him, and I think everyone appreciated a good story about the French link coming whole in San Antonio.
Okay, that's cool. Once again, we're talking with Louis. He is with Spurs Nation France. He'll talk about that in much detail later on in this show, and of course, he'll remind you where to listen to him on the radio. Hopefully, you know French, but if you do, you got to check him out right here on Locked On Spurs. We're talking about Wembanyama, the French fan reaction to him becoming officially a San Antonio Spur. And then we're going to get Louis' thoughts if French fans are a little upset maybe that he's not going to be wearing the French uniform at the FIBA World Cup this summer. Hey, Louis, before we go to a break real fast, did you get yourself a Wemby jersey already? Did you get one on order?
No, not really, but I was really glad because I was actually one of the last happy few to see him in an official game, because I was at the last finals game in France, watching him in the French Open Stadium. So it was a really cool moment.
So do you have any French jerseys with Wembanyama's name on it?
No, not yet. I'm waiting for a nice CD edition of the Spurs jersey to order that.
Thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every day. You guys are the everydayers. Tomorrow on the show, probably more Wemby talk, but also getting you ready for this Friday as NBA free agency period begins. So, Louis, let's continue our chat. So, you look at French fans right now. I know everybody's excited. They're waiting for him, Wemby to make his NBA debut, which looks like it'll be in Las Vegas. He's going to skip the Sacramento Summer League games. He's going to only play the Las Vegas games. How much, we don't know yet, but we'll find out. But he could have also represented Team France at the FIBA World Cup in Indonesia in August. He decided not to. How did French fans react to Wemby deciding to forego playing with Team France?
Oh, man, how can I say it? It was really quite the talk, because it really had all the French basketball community very divided, because you see Wemby's done many interviews this year where he said how much French team mattered to him, how much he wanted to make France like this stronghold of the basketball world, especially against the US. So he does all this talk to say national team is really important to me. And the first thing he does when he comes to the US, say, okay, I'm going to skip playing with France. So a lot of fans were actually really disappointed. Even big sports media personalities were also very shocked by this decision.
Wow.
But as Spurs fan, we understand, because he had so much of a season. I mean, he plays through the finals. He also played for the qualifiers for this basketball World Cup. So I think it's safer, because he still has this big body that he's gonna learn to use. And I prefer to have him sit this summer and be ready for the Olympics in Paris next year.
Yeah, the good thing about that is Paris, because it's in Paris. France gets an automatic bid, so they're in matter what. So that's good. It's interesting to say that the fans were upset that he's not going to play for France this August. You said you were understanding. You get it. But you said that there was some sports media people in France, some fans that were very divided, saying like, that's not good. Do you think he'll probably play at the Paris Olympics? That's for sure. I mean, I would all signs would point to yes, he's going to play that.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you think this French team with Wembanyama could make a deep medal run at the Olympics?
Yeah, because if you look at the last one, the French came second to the US, and we're gonna have pretty much the same roster with Rudy Gobert, Nicolas Batum, Evan Fournier. If you add Wemby to that mix, I think our chance to win it all are pretty high. The thing is, this team have to have core memories together, and that's why a lot of French fans were also upset, because if Wemby skip playing this year, maybe he won't have as much reps with these guys before the Olympics.
Yeah, and look, I was a little stunned too to see that he announced that he's not going to play for Team France. I really thought he was going to. There was an argument that could be made that playing in Indonesia would have prepared him a little bit more for the NBA, playing against another high level competition, playing against teams that are desperate to get a bid into the Olympics. There'll be some high quality competition, and also to perhaps get them in a little bit more shape, for training camp and preseason. Were French fans looking at that angle too?
Yeah, more on that side. And as a Spurs fan, I thought that maybe also this decision was he saw that maybe if he stayed longer in the US, he could connect more with his Spurs teammates and learn to play more with them and get to know them better before the season actually starts, because he also wants to be in San Antonio for the long run. So I think knowing your personnel way early is actually good. And I'm not worried, because he played in the French national team before, so I think he's gonna be ready for the next Olympics.
Well, what about this? How do you think French fans are going to react to see him going to play at the Las Vegas Summer League? And it may not be the NBA regular season, but he'll make his NBA debut in Las Vegas. How excited are French fans for that moment?
Well, Summer League is like, it's not just, as you said, it's not really the season, but everyone's actually excited to see him play, because it's been like the big talk for like a month over here. So everyone is eager to see him play, because you're like, okay, because everyone's talking about the dinner in San Antonio. We've also seen the video and the presentation where he breaks some shots, that the Rockets fans are coming at us. We're like, okay, enough talk, let's see him play.
Yeah, and I think that's where at least I know I am at right now, but at this point, we know what he can do on the court, at least based on what we've seen in France with the Metros and with Tony Parker with Asvel. So we have an idea. We've seen the highlights. We know the numbers, and you can't crunch the numbers anymore. I think the next step is, all right, let's see what he can do. I think that's where we're at right now. There's a lot of expectations for Victor. Did he have to face these type of high level expectations in France, whether it be with the Mets 92 or Tony Parker's Asvel? How did he deal with that spotlight in France?
It was two different settings, because when he came to Tony Parker's Asvel, he was quite the young prospect on the rise, but he wasn't the main guy on the team. So he played and he did fairly well, but since he wasn't the main guy, he didn't have too much pressure. But this season was completely different, because basically the whole Mets team was built around him, and I think they overachieved, because no one expected him to make a run to the finals, and everyone was shocked to see how much progress he made over this season. And I think it's a really good sign for the Spurs fans in the years to come.
Yeah, I think it's a great sign. I think he will live up to expectations, but I think he would really become Victor Wembanyama that everybody thinks maybe after year 2. You'll probably start seeing glimpses of it towards the end of season 1. But I think he's going to live up to expectations. Do French fans think that he will be the NBA Rookie of the Year? Do you think that's a lock, like guaranteed?
Not necessarily, because the big what if with Victor is about this body, because we've never seen something quite like it. So he said to the Spurs that he wants to play as much games as possible. So I think if he does, it's basically a lock. But with this kind of alien body. You don't know, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Spurs, go easy on him and say, okay, just play, 60, 65 game and, see how he goes. But I think, if he plays enough game, he's gonna take it. Yeah.
Yeah. Las Vegas right now, they're projecting that Wemby will play at least 65 to 66 games in his rookie season. That's about right. The NBA says if players want to win awards, they got to at least at minimum play 65 games. So that puts them on track.
Sure.
Yeah. I got him as my NBA rookie of the year for sure. The only thing that I can think will hold him back if they load manage him, or he plays the amount of games but doesn't get a lot of the minutes, and you see like maybe a Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson play like all 82 games, something crazy like that. I mean, I think it'll have to be something to that extreme for him to not win the NBA Rookie of the Year award. Look, Spurs fans in San Antonio, they're excited to see Wemby finally play. It's just around the corner. Sure, it's a summer league, but it's still something. And I know French fans are going to be staying up late to watch those Las Vegas games. Are you going to be staying up late to watch him play in the summer league?
Yeah, of course. It's been so long since I haven't seen a Spurs jersey in action. So, we can't wait here at Spurs Nation Friends.
He is Louis. He is with Spurs Nation Friends, as he just mentioned. And when we get back, he's going to tell you more about Spurs Nation Friends, how you can get in contact with him, and some other thoughts about Victor that we may have forgotten so far on this episode of Locked On Spurs. Once again, with Louis from Spurs Nation France, and you want to make sure to follow him on Twitter right now. How can everybody follow you on Twitter?
You can follow our main account, which is at Spurs_Nation_France. And you can also follow me on my main account, which is at L2KER.
There you go. Make sure to do that right now. By the way, everybody, looks like I'm finally out of the woods. I'm no longer sick. I think I just needed a couple extra days. So we should be able to resume video shows perhaps on Friday. So hopefully that'll happen. Right now, I'm feeling good. Luis, I don't know if you knew this, but I've been fighting a bad cold. Like I got sick, super, super bad. And it was so bad that fans were telling me on social media, hope you feel better, Jeff. Not because of me, because of Wemby. Because I was going to the draft and I was going to the draft media. They just didn't want me nowhere near Wemby. So I was nowhere near Wemby. I was like maybe 3 rows behind him or in front of him. So it was no direct contact. So I did not get him sick. So everybody relax. But I'm doing fine, everybody. Thanks for asking. Louis, let's go to wrap up this episode of Locked On Spurs as we check in on the French fans' thoughts on Wemby and San Antonio Spurs. I'm pretty sure you've seen this, San Antonio especially. They have murals of Wemby. They have big old tall cardboard cutouts out of him. Mm-hmm. People are getting haircuts of his face in their head. It's Wemby mania is going crazy in the United States, especially in San Antonio. Is it the same way in France? Are French fans wearing more Spurs jerseys? Are they doing something crazy like San Antonio fans are doing right now?
It's funny you mentioned that because I remember the first reaction from the French media when they saw, the Wemby mural, the Wemby haircuts. They're just like, oh, these Americans, they always do too much. But as Spurs fan, we're great to see that, there are some people who actually value what Wemby is, because there has also been a huge talk in France over the last season, which is, are we doing too much? Or are we doing not enough? Talking about Wembanyama, and it's maybe more in the French nature to be a little bit more reserved and not being too high on the praise about someone. So it's been quite the contrast with the U.S. way and San Antonio way of doing it.
Yeah, Americans are a little extra. They do a little bit more.
Yeah, but it's good to see sometimes.
yeah, I bet it was fun. Yeah. What did you think when you saw all the murals and the haircuts and the pictures going up everywhere? What did you think?
Oh man, I thought it was amazing, and especially the song by the mariachis. Oh my god, it was so cool to see.
Yeah. Hey, I cannot let you go without talking about the other French guy that the Spurs drafted, Sidi Sissoko. What do you know about him? What can you tell us about him? Are French fans excited for him as well?
I would say not as much because actually CD he left France quite early to play in Spain before joining the NBA G League Ignite. But actually, I was recording a podcast yesterday with a massive French media about basketball scouting. So what they told me that they were really high on him because he could play from 1 to 4, because actually CD started to play as a point guard, but since he had a growth spurt, he played more the 2 and 3, and especially with Scoot Anderson in the G League Ignite, he chose to play at the more the forward spots. But he's a really collective guy, really hard worker, and I think he's going to fit really well into the Spurs culture.
Yeah, I was surprised that he spoke Spanish. That threw me off. I speak Spanish. So when he started going there, I was like, wait, what did he just say? Like, for real? He's talking like that? Like, I caught me off guard. So I'm glad to see that he's going to fit in great. Yeah, really athletic, very on point. He looks like he was a steal for the Spurs. So for number 44 to still be there, I think the Spurs got themselves a good player. He'll likely spend a lot of time with the Austin Spurs G League team because of the position he plays. The Spurs got a lot of those type of players. But would not be surprised, though, Louis, if he does get some NBA minutes, because I got a feeling you can see it coming that perhaps he's just going to be really destroying the competition in the G League. Like I think he can really do that. So wouldn't be surprised. But I'm pretty sure French fans are happy for him, correct?
Yeah, sure. He's already done it. And personally, I have this wild dream that CD is going to be our point guard of the future because he's got the skills. He learned how to do it. So yeah, I'm just dreaming about this 6'8" point guard playing for the Spurs.
And then the coach is going to be Tony Parker, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. Right. Yeah, exactly. Hey, is everybody excited that Tony Parker is going to the Hall of Fame this summer?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a huge honor, and we can't talk enough about what Tony has done for basketball in France, and hopefully Wemby is going to carry on his legacy for him and French basketball.
I know. Is it possible that Wemby can be a bigger star in France than Tony Parker?
Whoa, it's gonna take a lot because basically Tony Parker is the one that introduced U.S. basketball to France, and it's a little bit like the debate between MJ and LeBron. MJ was the first one culturally, so I don't know if Victor can match that, but we never know.
Exactly. He is Louis from Spurs Nation France. Louis, we need you to brag about that. What is Spurs Nation France? Tell us all about that.
Basically, Spurs Nation France is association of French fans from the San Antonio Spurs. Our president has been a fan since the David Robinson's days. So basically, every year we try to make a trip to San Antonio to come and see the Spurs play. The last seasons have been a bit rough for us because the Spurs weren't as attractive. But now that Wemby is coming, I think we're gonna have a lot more people coming with us. So as an association, we're also really happy to see Victor landing in San Antonio.
And if you do make the trip to San Antonio to watch Wemby play, we gotta get a haircut of Wemby in your head.
I don't know I don't know if my boss would agree with that, but I don't know. Let's try. I mean, if we ever see each other in San Antonio, why not?
Why not, right? Yeah, you can always just cut it off when you got to go back to work. Just cut it off. But you would be the first French fan to do that, though. So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be a nice one.
Again, he is Louis with Spurs Nation France. And we thank you, Louis, for taking time to join us here on Locked On Spurs. You are more than welcome to come back to us anytime you want to give us the pulse of the French Spurs fan base when it comes to the Spurs and Victor Wembanyama. And we thank you, everybody else, for listening to Locked On Spurs. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. We thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. Mention tomorrow's show, more Wemby, probably getting you ready for the NBA free agency period. But for Louis from Spurs Nation France, Louis, tell me your last name one more time.
De Kergorlet.
De Kergorlet. Did I do better?
Yeah. No, I think you nailed it.
I think I nailed it. Yes. Okay. At that point, I'm going to get out of here now before I mess it up. So for Louis from Spurs Nation France, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.